or how will
What
other people?
What I'll do is I'll upload it to YouTube, but make it unlisted, which means only people with a YouTube link to it can view it. And then I'll send the link to the whole guild.
Perfect.
Okay.
It'll be cool to be able to rewatch, especially the educational.
Yeah. And what's cool about putting out on YouTube rather than Facebook is that if one of you took notes, like what time we do what, like the guild meeting starts at 9:15 and then blah, 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 we talked about business, you know, and then I could, and put timestamps, I could put those in the YouTube video. I could add the timestamps and then people can go right to the part they want to see if they don't want to watch the whole thing.
Who's our secretary now? Maybe they could timestamp it as they're taking notes for the meeting.
Our secretary's not available to be here today. Her mother's in the hospital, so. So Judy's,
I'll try and time.
yeah, Judy's sitting in for her.
Good morning.
Thank you, Judy.
People are coming on. They had to have their morning coffee. Brush their teeth. You have to brush your teeth before you start Zooming.
Oh, here we go.
Pam, we can't see your face.
She's hiding.
Pam always hides. Leave her
Oh,
alone.
there we go. I got it.
Yeah, I'll leave her alone. Don't poke the bear.
I know, Pam is so fierce.
There she is. Hi, Pam. Hello, Carolyn. Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
Kathleen. And Vicky. Vicky's on here now. Jovina. Susan's iPhone's on here. Jacqui Ingstrom's connecting. Kindle 5. Kindle. Not sure who Kindle is.
Probably somebody's child.
Kathleen put a celebration thing up briefly. Okay.
Up to 23 now.
So how's book club coming, Amanda? Actually, I'll have you talk about that during the guild meeting, but how's it coming along?
Book club is good. We're reading Sherlock Holmes, the Study in Scarlet right now. We have 2 more weeks of that, but nominations are up for our September and probably October books.
Okay.
We'll want to go.
I'll have you say all that again during the guild meeting. So then we
Okay.
could, yeah. Anybody knitting anything new? Have you started a new project?
I have.
You have? What did you start?
I am knitting a Hoey Locatelli pattern called Japan Sleeves.
Uh-huh.
It's a striped sweater, but it has these lace panels that you knit first. And I'm picking up along the edges of them because they go along your arm, but then you knit down.
Oh, how
the
cool
box.
is that? Very
And then
cool.
once you get the sleeves, you join it in the round.
Wow. I'm ready to, well, I'm actually going to start back on my iTag Sis. I finished this last night, the sweater I'm wearing. So I have to put the neck on it still. I'm going to do that between now and my live stream at 1 o'clock, but I love it. So I lace down the sleeve.
Nice.
Ooh, wow.
Nice.
It fits really good. I just love it. I can't wait to start another one.
I'm starting
I'm doing my
a
first
rib
shawl.
tank. Sorry,
Go ahead, who was talking?
I'm starting a rib tank. I just cast on, I got that much.
Oh, cool.
And it's, the pattern does it in a back and a front. You seam it together, but I'm attempting to change it to knitting in the round. I may be calling Suzanne and saying, no.
Yeah.
Jovina, did you have something?
I did. So I wanted to start a shawl, and I've never done a
Nice.
shawl before.
Beautiful.
So this is how far, but it has been a journey. I started
Yes.
at the end of
Wow.
June. I started at the end of June, and
Ve-
I've had to undo rows so many times. And
Well,
I've
that
tried
means
to,
you're a
like, try
knitter.
to-
Yeah.
I try to
Exactly.
find videos to help me make, just fix those mistakes.
Mm.
But I'm still trying to learn how they look on the front and the back. So I'm just like, it's easier for me to just undo the whole row.
And Teresa has joined us.
Hi.
And Dinah Campbell, we haven't seen you for a bit.
Hi,
Nice to
Dinah.
see you, Dinah. You're muted. We can't hear you.
That's right. You haven't. I remembered today.
Yeah. Do you get the emails that I send?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I just get too many. That's my
Okay.
problem.
I know. I have that problem too.
I'll bet you do.
Yeah. Some people, like there's one lady, and she's not in this group. I have no idea where she lives, but when she has a question, she contacts me on YouTube. She asks in my Facebook group, and she sends me a private message.
Oh,
Oh
no,
my
Exact
gosh.
same question. Exact same question.
Oh
no,
my
no, too much.
Yeah. Just in case, I don't look somewhere.
Yeah, I have that too.
She
I have
wants to make sure-
multiple email addresses because I'm in charge of various group emails, and sometimes people send them to all of them. And it drives me crazy.
I know, I understand. I need a secretary just to read my email.
The problem is some people only check their email, some only check their texts. And you know how long it's going to take them if you send an email. They may take 5 days to even look at it.
Exactly. I know. That's why I send the reminder out for the guild twice. I send it a week in advance and then the day before. Because I figure for people that read their email, they'll get it both times, but people that don't, if it's 5 days in advance, maybe they'll see it. And I send the second one because I figure by the time the week's gone by, they've already forgotten about it. So I send a reminder. But
It's true.
You
I'm
know.
glad they do it because even this morning I was laying in bed and then I thought, oh my gosh, I have to get up.
And then
So
you
I
just have to click on the link. I put the link right in it so that you don't have to
Yeah.
go and try to find the link somewhere, Okay, so we're going to start the guild meeting now. This is our August 2021 guild meeting. And a little over a year from now, our guild will have been is created 9 years ago. We're almost 10 years old. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
That is
So
amazing.
That means that we've had all those worldwide knit and public days. We've had all those retreats, except for last year. And that brings up the topic of the retreat for this year. As of this moment, we are still planning on having it. But we are monitoring the situation, and it depends on the rules for Tulare County because that is where the retreat center is and the retreat center's rules. So I haven't talked to Barbara recently. I will be contacting her. The Fresno Guild, Carolyn notified me yesterday that the Fresno Guild has canceled their retreat for this year, and theirs is 2 weeks before ours. So they just made the decision that they can't go forward with their retreat this year. And that is a possibility for us too. It depends on the situation and what's going on with the retreat center in Tulare County. So in the event that we do have to cancel it again, which is horrible, everyone will get all their money back. You'll get a full refund of what you paid for the retreat.
Will we still have to pay the teachers?
No,
Okay.
no. We have paid a $100 deposit to Beth Whiteside, and Cecilia Companchero did not require a deposit. So we would just be out $100. So that's not bad. So, but we won't know. We're gonna act as if we're going forward. So if you still owe towards the retreat, I would go ahead and send in the rest of your payment. Knowing that if it is canceled, you will get all your money back, okay? So that's the retreat. And then next up is the fair. Kathy Henry has been our co-chair for the fair for the last couple of years, and she's not going to be able to do it this year. So we still have not had anybody step forward as a volunteer to coordinate the fair. And it's going to be a monumental task this year. I'm sorry, but the fair itself, the people, they don't have someone to be the chair for the fair, not for our guild. But for the fair themselves, they do not have a chairperson for the needle arts division. So that is all the needle arts: quilting, crocheting, knitting, tatting, bobbin lace, embroidery, sewing. All of those things are included in the needle arts, and they don't have someone to chair that yet. So it may be chaos, is what I'm thinking. But we have volunteered to help out with the knitting, and I'd be certainly help to do the take in and set up the knitting as we've done every year. But we just need someone from our guild who is more or less the liaison between us and the chairperson of the guild, I mean of the fair. It's not a big task, it's a communications job. It's a communications job. It's not a labor job. So if anybody's interested in being that communications person, we would appreciate it. And basically what that person does is they communicate with the needle arts chairperson, is Francois's grandson, and then with our guild to give the guild the information. There are always volunteers from the guild every year who will help do the intake. It's actually a really fun job doing the intake. You get to see everyone's beautiful, beautiful work. And then the next day we help set up the knitting exhibit, which is also very fun. It is a little labor intensive, but it's really fun to set up. And we enjoy doing that because before we took over that task, the knitting was kind of a last thought at the fair. And when we do the knitting, we try to set it up to showcase the knitting. Before we started doing it, oftentimes the knitted projects were folded up and put in the glass bookcases, so you couldn't see them. So we have kind of, gotten our foot in the door and are able to commandeer a portion of the room now and furniture pieces and stuff to showcase the knitting, and it would be nice if we could continue doing that. So that takes volunteers, and the guild chairperson would coordinate those volunteers. It doesn't mean that they are going to do it physically themselves. They do not even have to show up at the fair, just coordinate who's going to be there when, and communicate with the fair chairperson so that they know they can count on us to be there. So, and then the last part of it is the takedown day. Taking all the knitting down, and people come and pick up their pieces and get their awards, which is also very, very fun.
Suzanne, isn't next Friday the drop-off day?
Yes, let me see. Let me go to the website. Has anybody entered anything in the fair?
I have.
I entered my Aran sweater, which is not done. And, but on the website, I couldn't figure out how to pay right away. So I didn't, but then I got a follow-up call from somebody reminding me that I did need to pay the fee. But to tell you honestly, I don't want to send my 2.5, 3-year work of art into chaos.
Right. Let
So
me see the, I'm looking at the website.
But we'll have volunteers from our guild at the intake, even if
Yes,
chaos on their part. It won't be.
right.
chaos
Our
on
part
our
will be
part.
very organized.
Right,
because- And we take good care of putting the work up. So let's see, closing dates for needle art. Let me get this bigger so I can read it. Needle arts and sewing, Friday, August 20th.
Ooh, yeah.
So next Friday is the closing date for the entries. And then the date that is for setup, let me see. I have to go through this. Okay. And then the things are picked up October 4th. Closing date.
So just to clarify, it's only to enter that you have to be done by next Friday.
Exactly, filling out your form.
Right, and then from there, when do we have to take them? Or who do we take them to? Obviously, somebody from the guild, but.
No, you take them to the fair building number 4.
Okay.
And they usually, intake is usually on Thursday evening and Friday morning. And then Saturday is the setup, Sunday is the judging, and then the fair opens.
Okay.
So I don't have those dates right in front of me. I did send them out to everybody in the newsletter. So let me find that. Well, I don't know if I saved it, the newsletter. So I can find them again and send it out to everybody. I'm sorry, I don't have that at my fingertips.
No, that's okay.
That's why we need a chairperson for the fair.
And it's not until like right before the fair opens. It's like 2 or 3, 4 days before the fair opens. So you
Right.
have all the time from when you when you turn in your entry form and pay your fees. You have the rest of that time to finish up any fair projects. So you don't have to have it done right now.
Exactly. You don't even have to have it started if it's something that you can finish, because the fair isn't until September.
I thought when I read it that, August 20th was your done day. You had to have it done, fill out your form and turn it in to whoever. And
you don't turn your knitting in, just the form and your fee.
And what they do is they take the entry form and you of course pay your fee, and then they make out little tags for each item that has been entered. So when you turn things in, they have a way of identifying what division it is, what class it is, and they attach it when you turn it in, and they give you a corresponding tag that you will use when you pick it up.
Right, you get a receipt.
It's really a very organized process.
Yeah, it's very, very organized. And we've all done it long enough. We could probably do the whole thing all by ourselves, because.
Well, the only thing is that Dale was so good about identifying if embroidery was in the wrong class and.
Exactly.
And the quilts, and they don't have anybody to do that.
Yeah.
We could do the take-in for the knitting and crochet.
Yeah,
That would be easy.
Yes. Yes. So it remains to be seen how it's going to work out. I would go ahead and enter your things. What is a $3 entry fee? And the prizes are good. When you win, you get like $10, So if you win several prizes, you could bring home $20, $30.
And when I went in and turned in my entry fee, because I had to do that before I left, obviously, I asked, I said, if the fair is canceled, will we get our fee money back? And she said, yes, of course.
Yeah. And it may be that the fair is going to be canceled. It's not looking very good in Kern County at the moment. So if it's just a little bump and it comes back down, that would be great. But it might be that it's the beginning of another big bump. So that's the fair. So we've talked about the retreat and the fair. Claire, do you have anything to talk about the library, the Guild Library? You're muted.
Should know better. If you'll look in the chat, I put a link to the Guild library. So it has all the titles that you can check out. My background screen has a photo of it, but you can only see 1.5 shelves. There's 136 titles in the Guild library. And we focus not on patterns, but on technical resources, that would support you if you were doing research for the Master Hand Knitter program, or just doing research on something that you wanted to do. And there are times when you may not want to go on to YouTube because you just want to focus on something. And it's hard to start and stop and rewind when you want to just do one little area. So there are a lot of books that can teach you some things or get you started, where you can just leave it open as long as you want. Since Suzanne is talking about pockets today, I pulled a bunch of resources that talk about pockets and the different types, and I'm going to list those in the chat field as well later on. And then another fun thing about our Guild library is we have what I call books of wisdom or humor, stuff that's not about knitting, but that people enjoy, like Stephanie Pearl McPhee. I don't have any titles right in front of me. They're too far away for me to read. At Knits In, what is it? Hang on. These are some of the favorites. Knitting Rules, Stephanie Pearl McPhee. Ooh, that's interesting.
Oh, can't see them.
Oh, it just won't do that. Well, anyway, and Free Range Knitter at Knits In, Meditations for Women Who Knit Too Much. And those books, they're great. You read them once and you probably don't ever need to pick them up again. So it's great that we have those titles so that you can read them once and just put them right back in the library. Another fun one is Knitting for Anarchists by Anna Zilborg. And to give you an idea of what she's like, Suzanne said, just open the book and start reading. Here's what Anna says. There's no need to sew in ends. You can tie each end in a square knot with its adjacent end and cut them half an inch long. This is the traditional ethnic way of finishing ends without even the square knot. So it puts history and sentimentality on your side. It's also speedy and secure. No one will know from the front of your knitting about the mess that's inside. If they do, and if they care, it's their problem, not yours. So Knitting for Anarchists, wonderful fun read. Plus, she still has instructions and techniques in them. Knitting Without Tears by Elizabeth Zimmerman is another amusing one. Also talks about basic techniques, but some writers just have a certain tone of voice. They put a little joke and sarcasm in there, and it just makes it much more fun. So I was going to wait, Suzanne, and show the pocket bits after you were done, or
Okay. That'd be fine.
Okay.
Did you want to read anything from the Elizabeth Zimmerman?
I was going to, but it's really long, and when I read it the second time, I thought, oh, I don't want to take up that much time. So.
What I like about both Elizabeth Zimmerman and Anna Zilborg is that you feel like they give you permission to do your own thing.
Exactly.
Anna Zilborg says it's your needle and your yarn and your knitting. You know, do it the way you want to do it. It's okay. And Elizabeth Zimmerman has a similar point of view, you know, like she says she hates to purl. So she has so many things using garter stitch, and that's where she came up with the baby surprise jacket, the adult surprise jacket, and all of her stuff that is just garter stitch, but it's also mathematical for those of you who like things to be precise. And she explains the reason why, how the garter stitch, you know, makes perfect squares. So you can do things that are, geometric, very easily with garter stitch. So all those are very, very interesting.
Right, it's like you know, we have that technical side of the library, but we also have these people who are telling us, just chill, folks, just, you know, relax.
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna get hurt unless you
Right.
sit on a knitting needle. Nobody's gonna get hurt from what you do, and you will survive it.
And one of my favorite stories from Stephanie Pearl McPhee is that she says, you know, people will all walk up and who are not knitters and they'll say, oh, how do you do that? It must take a lot of patience. And she says, no, it's the opposite. And she uses the example of being in the airport, you know, and you're flying and you're in between flights. And she says, so you've got something to do. And then when they announce over the loudspeaker that your flight's been delayed, you go, yay, more knitting time. Rather than being full of anguish because your flight is delayed. She says it gives you patience. Knitting gives you patience. It doesn't take patience. So let's see, is any of the other guild officers have anything they want to talk about?
I want to talk about the knit off.
You want to talk about, oh, yes, Jacqui, let me put you up.
So I know you all know about the knitted knockers, and you're probably sick of hearing me talking about my knockers these days. But can you believe that this year is our 5th annual knitted knocker knit off?
Wow.
We're like a legend in the knitted knocker community. But I have knitted knocker flyers, and this year they've kind of outdone themselves. They made it perforated so you can tear off the entry form. Look at that. And I can't even meet you in person to give it to you. So, but anyway, I posted it on in Suzanne's knitting page, and I posted it on the What the Knit Guild page. So you can download it, or I can mail you a form if you want to. And I'm going to drop some off at the Twisted Skein. But of course, it's the same as it has been before. $25 to enter. Create whatever kind of theme knocker that you want. If you've got any family members that don't knit but want to take part in it, I've got reject knockers that I can drop off to you, and they can decorate them in any which way they want to and submit those. The submissions are due to me at the Breast Centre by October 1st. They will go on display October the 4th. And if we're allowed to have VI Pink on October the 14th, that's when it will be announced. If VI Pink gets cancelled, then we'll figure it out from there. But we've got the 3 categories as usual: the most creative, the best theme, and the People's Choice Award. So when they're on display in the Cancer Centre, people will be able to vote for them, and I'll also post them in the various groups on my page so people can vote for them there too. So I think it'll be fun. I'm hoping that now I posted it in Suzanne's group with Suzanne's blessing that we'll get some entries from
international
states and the world. Yeah, it would be great, wouldn't it?
Fatima, we're speaking to you, and Francoise.
Yeah.
Fatima is so creative. Oh my gosh.
But the point is that to send from here to America, I cannot deliver on time.
Oh yes, that's what's a pain in the neck.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Right. But I tell you, as long as it got here by the last day, I'd put it up.
But I can try. Can you email me the pattern? I was thinking about that, but the point is to send to America takes a long time to arrive on time. But I am happy to help.
Can you just post a picture, Jacqui? Have her send you a picture and just post that instead of the actual thing?
The post, sometimes my mom can send me something and it's here in 5 days. And sometimes she sends me something and it's here in 5 months.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
You know, as a general rule, it takes about 10 days. And it normally works pretty well, but sometimes it doesn't. But yeah,
Portugal is backwards.
Exactly. 6 weeks. 6 weeks the minimum.
But if you send it and it doesn't get here and I've got a photograph, I can put the photograph up and I can say in transit from Portugal. And how fabulous would that be?
Okay, if you send me, or I can assess I will try, because I was looking for because it's some nice interesting project to do. Here in Portugal we don't have this. I know some people that have this problem and probably would love to, and I met some time ago one exactly that I thought that could be a good project to offer to her. I don't know if she would be offended or not, because it's a very strange person, but anyway, I was thinking yes, but I thought, okay, how I assess, because I didn't understand last time how to assess the link to get it, and I can try, and sometimes yeah, I can apply for the quick post to send. I will try to do my best. Please, we say that the deadline is 15th of October?
It's the 1st of October to go on display, but they go on display from October the 4th to October the 14th. Okay. So, I mean, if it doesn't get here by the 1st, but it got here on the 10th, I would still
okay. I saw that somebody put in the chat
yeah, that's the knittedknocker.org. That is the there you go. And Cindy's put in the link specifically to the Making a Knocker. What's important to remember about this one is that this does not have to be made with any of the approved yarn, and you can do whatever you want with it. In What the Knit group, I put some of the previous winners, and you'll see there's a booby Yoda, there's a bat, there's a one that looks like an eye. These can be as crazy as you want them to be. They can be painted with glitter, they can be embroidered on, because these will never go in a lady's bra. Although when we posted pictures on the actual Knitted Knocker page, somebody wanted to wear my lady boobs, which look like ladybugs, in their bra, which I'm like, really? You want to have those little legs sticking out of your bra? But whatever. Each to their own.
So Jackie, if you write up a little thing, kind of like what you did that you posted in my group, and send it to me, I'll send it to the entire guild.
Okay.
I understood that can be in any yarn, because wool is not good to put in the breast, right?
Right. So yeah. If they're made for patients, there's certain yarns we have to use, and they're cotton yarns. But when you make it for the competition, you can use whatever you want.
Okay.
You could Stephen B it.
Yeah, absolutely. You could.
Oh my God.
Well, he was saying that one of these years he's going to make me some Madonna ones.
You know what? We should challenge him. We should challenge him to enter into. I'll send him a link. He needs to. He could put it in his email thing. I'll talk to him about that. That would be awesome.
We'll try.
It's fun. The hospital looks forward to this competition every year now. It's really become a fabulous annual tradition. And they can't get over how many people support us and our knockers. I think it's great.
I got to write that down.
I know you put some pictures on when you sent out the message, but is there any archive that we can go to see more ideas and more pictures?
There isn't, but that's a good idea, actually. You know what I'll do is I'll create, if I can create I'll create a post with all of the ones from that we've done, and then maybe we can put that in a Knitted Knocker album on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I have the link here, but I don't have the pattern itself, the instructions.
I'll send it out. Hold on.
Okay.
She'll send it to me, and then as soon as she does that later this afternoon. And Jackie, maybe I could get you to be on one of my live streams, maybe even today, and advertise it to the people that watch from YouTube too. We could talk about that later.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
That would be very cool.
Let me ask you something. What about having people contribute for someone to enter? Because I mean, not all the knitters can afford $25 for the entry fee.
Yeah, you know what? If people can't afford it, send it anyway. I don't mind.
Well, I was just wondering if you would be able to get more, more money for the cause by asking people to support one of the, like people support the running in a marathon kind of thing.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I've got one patient who donates $100 every year around the knitted knocker competition time, because she just thinks the competition is so fantastic. So that would cover 4 entries right there. You know,
Well,
I had people, I had a gentleman that read it in the Bakersfield newspaper, walked into the cancer center with a $200 check for the knockers. So,
oh, that's nice.
right. So the whole thing itself raises awareness in our community, and people literally, they've walked in with a newspaper saying, I had a mastectomy 10 years ago. I never heard of these. Have you got some knockers for me? Because they're always free for the patients. Or I have people coming in with the newspaper saying, I love this. I want to give you some money. So if people can't afford that $25, I'd rather they just make the knocker and send it to me. And that's great. I'll take whatever.
Well, and if you're a guild
For
member, you
those
can
of you,
ask.
for those of you who weren't in our guild a few years ago, our guild actually won the Beautiful Bakersfield Award because of our contribution to the knitted knockers. And that was awesome. It was very cool.
And if you're a guild member and you can't afford the entry fee, we have funds that, you know, we sometimes, if you need help.
Yes.
the guild will help.
Yeah, but you know what? I'd rather that stay in the guild for other things, and I'd just accept the free entry.
Yeah.
Because it's just raising awareness. So, you know, I don't want anyone to feel like they have to pay the entry fee if they can't. If they want to enter and they can't afford it, just enter. It just raises awareness in the, you know, like I realize internationally, I should probably say that on the post, Suzanne, that it's hard to send $25 when you're from England, Portugal, France, wherever. It's, you know, that it's going to cost you to send the knocker. So that's your entry fee. So I should probably say that.
Yeah, for the international, just send the knockers. Don't worry about the fee.
Yeah,
I can try.
I can that much in postage.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, I'll make an addendum to that post, Suzanne.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Thank you. Send to me, and I will do that.
Is there anything anybody else would like to discuss?
Then on that link, if you scroll down, there's little square blue boxes. And those are the different patterns. There's one for crochet, and then there's one that's like top down or bottom up socks. You can do the knockers either way too. And those patterns are there too. So you just need to scroll down a little bit and you'll see the patterns.
Blue box. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You find them?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you.
And
try.
I can't wait to see what you guys do. It's going to be fun. Charlene, hello. Nice to see you today.
Yeah.
Hi. How
are you doing?
Okay, a little late, but I'm here.
That's okay. So let's see, we've got 29 people. Does anybody else have anything else they'd like to bring up that they want to share? Okay, so Amanda, do you want to talk about the book club?
Yes, I can talk about book club. So we have a Zoom book club. If you didn't know, we meet every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We start discussing the book at 7:30 p.m. and we usually talk about it for about an hour. We meet every week. Feel free to just hang out on the Zoom chat, listen, knit. This month we are reading A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle. That's the first Sherlock Holmes mystery. We are 1/3 of the way into it right now. We have 2 weeks left in that, but also in the What the Knit Facebook group, I have an open link and I thought I pinned it, but it didn't look like it was pinned last time I looked at it. So I need to go back and pin it. There's a post to nominate books for September and October. So far, I think Susan Ayers is the only person who's added any books to it. I put in a couple suggestions from people in the group as we were having the discussion, because I know Deb is not available to post and Brenda doesn't have Facebook. And so I posted her nomination in there as well.
Do you have a topic?
We do not. I've done themes for the last several books, so I wanted to have this one open. If there's something that just came out that people want to read, if there's something you rediscovered, if there's a new movie coming out about a book that you wanted to read because it's trendy, that's fine too. Just any sort of book you think would appeal to the group. I just ask nothing too gory or traumatic. We did read one recently about people who were in a concentration camp, and that was a little rough. That's okay, but I don't want anything really traumatic, and I ask for nothing overtly religious because we have people from a variety of views in the group, and we want to try and keep it non-controversial. The same would go, I wouldn't want to read any book by, say, a news host type person. Normally we stick to fiction, so kind of keeping with the not controversial or very much from one side or the other type books.
You're more interested in literary works.
We are. We've read some really great literary works. I was telling somebody about A Gentleman in Moscow, which we read last year, which really, really kind of struck the key of the lockdown because it was about a man who's on house arrest for 20 years in Russia right after the Bolshevik Revolution. But it's all about how he mastered his circumstances and made the best of it. And those are the kinds of books I like, or ones that kind of inspire us with the world.
What's the total of books we've read? Do you have that? Is it like 18?
Well, we started in May of last year, and we've book a month since then. So
May,
how many
June,
months
July,
is that?
August.
15?
So 15, yeah. 15 books that I probably never would have read. So,
yeah. And what's really cool about it is that, all you need to do is have your phone or your iPad, your computer if you want, but you can be sitting in your knitting chair, working on your knitting, and you can have your cup of tea there or whatever, or glass of wine or whatever you do in the evening to relax. And you're just sitting there and listening to your friends talk, and you can participate if you want or not. You can just listen. And it's a very relaxing and enjoyable time. I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it. And you can jump in at any time, even though they're a third of the way through this current book, it wouldn't take you but one evening to catch up, in reading the book.
We're only about 45 pages into the book right now. It's not a very long book. The other thing I like is books that are on audiobook, because a lot of us like to listen to books while we knit.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And I have people in the book club that don't read the book. They just come to hang out, and that's perfectly okay too. We kind of go over a little bit about what happened in the book, and then talk about, different characters' responses and how we think we'd be different and those kinds of things. It's just a good time.
It is. It's very relaxing. Very, very relaxing. Kind of a, instead of watching a movie or watching TV that evening, you can participate in the book club and get some knitting done. Does anybody else have anything they would like to add?
I do. We are still finishing our colors theme. So because we're reading a study in Scarlet, anybody in the guild who is knitting a red project during the month of August and either shows it in book club or posts it in the What the Knit Facebook group, or just send me an email with your picture of your project if you're not on Facebook, you'll be in the drawing for a skein of red yarn. I believe this is called Charged Cherry. It's smooshy with cashmere.
Nice.
Soft yarn.
So smooshy, that is from Anzula?
It's Dream in Color.
Okay, that's right. Dream in Color smooshy, right. We also have along with the book club on Tuesday morning, Pacific time, 9 o'clock Pacific time, and Thursday morning, 9 o'clock Pacific time, we have social knitting. And it's for about an hour and a half. It's the same Zoom address as you're using right now. Oh, I wanted to mention Amanda's Zoom address. The newsletter that I sent out, I put everyone's Zoom addresses for everything. So the newsletter that I sent out a week ago has the Zoom address for Amanda's book club. All you have to do is find that email, and the Zoom address is right there. And what I do, these are recurring Zoom addresses. She never changes it. It's going to be the same every Wednesday. So write it down on a sticky note or something and stick it to your iPad or your computer or wherever it is that you're using it. Or if you keep a digital calendar, like if you use a calendar on your iPad, you can just put it into your calendar and save it and put it recurring, so it's there every week. So you don't ever have to stop and look up that Zoom address. So same for the guild meeting. Our Zoom address is the same every month. It'll always be the same until we quit Zooming. And the Tuesday and Thursday morning social knitting is the same. It's the guild mate, the same address that we use today, the Zoom address today. And we just chit chat on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. There's no theme or anything. We just socialize. It's a very low key, enjoyable time. We just talk about whatever's we want to talk about. And then on the Saturday following the guild meeting, which will be next Saturday, we have the guild social knitting. And so it's from 9 o'clock until about 10:30, 11 o'clock, same thing, next Saturday, sharing your projects, talking about your knitting and what's going on with all of us. It's just relaxing. It's a time for us to socialize, because during the actual guild meeting like today, we don't really have socializing. It's a structured format and then it's over. So it's not just free form talking. So people like to talk, you know, and share with each other. And that's what the social knitting groups are for. Any questions about any of this stuff so far? Judi, did I cover everything that's on our list?
I think so. Do you want to do the attendance just for them to put in what they
Yes, you want
they
to,
want
you want to
enter?
talk about the prize?
Yeah, we have an attendance drawing during the meeting. This month it's for $30 at Panera's. If you'd like to enter, you need to just be a guild member. So in the chat, just put your name and your at least your last initial, because we might have somebody with more than one name. So you can do that, and then we'll do the drawing after the educational portion.
Great. Speaking of that, do we have anybody here who has not joined the guild or who is a visitor today? Are there any visitors? Do we have anybody new? Everybody's no new people today. Okay, so let's take a 5-minute bathroom break. Okay, and at 10 o'clock, I'm going to start the educational component. So you've got a 5-minute bathroom break, or get up and get a glass of water, or stand up and stretch. There you go, Libby. Libby's going to lead us in exercises. Stretch your arms. Yes, take a minute, and I'm going to get ready.
You guys, we can talk if you want.
It's still recording.
It's, oh yeah, that's true.
We might want to mention for people who joined us a little later that we are recording this, and if anybody objects, you need to let Suzanne know.
Is there anybody that doesn't want to be recorded? That's why Dimitri is hiding her face. She's in the witness protection program with Amy.
It's very funny. It's the dog's barking. I have to hide.
I have to tell you what I did to Amy one year. Yeah, Amy, you know, some people don't like having their picture taken, and I understand. I don't like having my picture taken either, because every time my picture is taken, my mouth's going, or my eyes are doing something funny, you know, it's just, or I'm chewing, or I'm making some odd face, and I absolutely hate it. And because I'm so tall, I'm always taller than everybody else, so I kind of stand out, you know, and I'm very sensitive to that. So I understand not having your picture taken. But on the other hand, when our guild gets together, like when we have retreats every year, I try to get a picture of everyone that was at the retreat. You know, it's kind of a historical event. And so Amy doesn't like having her picture taken. So we got the guild picture, and she fooled me. She wasn't in there, and I didn't miss her. And so I had Cindy Photoshop her in, because I have pictures. Yeah, I take lots and lots of pictures at all the guild functions. I have saved them all. So I just chose one that was a very attractive picture of Amy.
Oh, you're
And
so bad, Suzanne. You
it's-
photoshopped me into that. That will
Yes.
never die.
I photoshopped her in, or Cindy did it, and it was really a nice picture.
So there's no avoiding the camera. She'll get you one way or the other.
What's fun because I've taken pictures of so many people for so many years. Like one time Jacki was trying to decide whether she should let her hair grow out or not, or whether she liked it better short. So I pulled up all my pictures of Jacki over the years, and she could look at them with her hair at all different stages of her hair.
Yeah.
And see which one she liked best. And she decided she liked it better short. That was kind of fun.
Yes,
I went so far, when Stephen B came, we took some pictures of the classes and
Yes,
participants.
thank you very much.
And when you take a picture of a large group of people, there's always going to be somebody who's going, and so some people were smiling, some people were frowning. And so I not even just heads, I would snip body parts. And so I put a fantastic smile that Jacqui Rickels had in one photo where everybody else looked good, but her smile wasn't good. So I pasted her other smile onto that picture. And
I don't know
okay,
where
but
she-
it kind of had a little,
Yeah.
kind of was skewed. It was hard to kind of pin it on just right.
I saw that and I go, oh, okay. Okay.
Little Salvador
great.
Dali or Picasso-esque. Never try to get out of a picture.
Now, after the class, we're going to do show and tell. Okay, so be sure to have something out to share. So we all ready?
Yep.
Okay, let me spotlight me. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is afterthought pockets. And this is the beginning of a long topic that I'm going to be working on. In fact, I'm going to be publishing a whole series, probably over 2 years, of articles on pockets in Cast On Magazine. It'll start in the winter issue this year. So we're going to start out with the basics. And my articles are on pockets in general, but I'm starting with afterthought pockets. An afterthought pocket means something that you add to your garment after the garment is finished. And I'll show you an example of that at the end. I can show you a couple, but these are some afterthought pockets. That's a little bit bright. Two different ways to do afterthought pockets. So let's look at these first. These are a horizontal pocket, means the opening is horizontal. This one was made as a patch. For example, let me find my little patch like this, a little miniature patch, which I'm going to sew on for you today to show you how to do it. So it was worked as a patch and then sewn on to the fabric. This one, I picked up stitches down here through the fabric and knitted it on, but it's still an afterthought pocket. And they look very much the same. They have the exact same number of stitches and rows. The only real difference is that this one you can see sticks out from the fabric a little bit here. And that's because underneath there is the cast on edge. So you can see on the patch, you have the cast on edge, and you don't necessarily want the cast on edge to be on the front of your work. So it is pulled under, which creates a little bit of depth there. This one, where there's no cast on edge, it's just straight picked up from the existing stitches, you can see that it lays very smoothly. And it's just, they're both perfectly acceptable. You could do either way. It's just two different techniques of doing the same thing. This is the same thing with a vertical pocket. So this one was a patch, and you can see how, and the bind off is also hidden underneath. So you can see how it sits more on top of the fabric, or appears to sit on top of the fabric. And this one was picked up in stitches, and then the live stitches were joined to the stitches here, so there's no bind off, and you can see it's very, very smooth with the surface of the fabric. So I'm going to show both those methods. Before we start actually working on these, let me show you how I figure out where to put a pocket. This is my working teaching sample. So what I do, and I have a blog post about Vera Sannon's a dress that I made. A bunch of us made it. The one that was made out of hemp. And I decided to add pockets to it. What I did was I put it on, and then I put my hands where I wanted the pockets to be on the garment, where it was comfortable for my arms. And I used, for that one, I just used double pointed knitting needles, and I marked the area around my hand. And then I took the garment off and fine-tuned the area that I was marking. So this is the same sort of thing. It's just showing that I've marked the area first where I want to apply the pocket. This helps immensely, whether you're knitting it on or sewing it on, because once you start sewing on, you can very easily get off a column of stitches, or it's even easier to get off by a row because it starts distorting it a little bit as you're working it. So I mark it first where I want to put my pocket. For example, this little patch, where'd my patch go, is going to fit right here. And then below that, I'm going to show you how I would knit on the patch. So first thing I'm doing to do is sew on this patch. And you can see I sewed this one on here. This was a patch also, and I sewed it on. So we'll start by sewing this one on. I'm going to use a strand of yarn. And I want it to be able to go around, you know, give yourself some extra for weaving in ends. And let me find my tapestry needle. Put it on my tapestry needle. And I'm going to zoom in. So the yellow is lining outside of the area where I want it to be. I'm going to be using the stitches inside. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be attaching the bottom. You could start here and work all the way around, or here and work this way. But I think it's easier to make sure that you have it in the right position by doing the bottom first. So what I do when I'm doing the bottom is I leave enough tail to come back. I'll sew this way, and then I'll come back with my tail and sew up this way. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go under the edge stitch, and I have a slipped stitch edge on this. You can do slip stitch or not slip stitch, it's personal preference, but I'm going to go under here. I'm going to go under here just to start it. Well, let's see. I'm going to go under here. I'm going to leave a tail for working up that side. And I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to go under here. Now, I'm going in a stitch and up in a stitch, because when I come through here and I pull this up, I want it to pinch those two legs together as they already are. So it doesn't change the look of the stitch that I'm sewing into. If, on the other hand, instead of going under the left leg of this stitch and the right leg of this stitch, let's say I go under two legs of the same stitch, when I go to pull this up, what is it going to do? It's going to pinch those two legs together. Do you see that? And then that's going to be really obvious on the front of your work. We don't want that. So that's why I'm using, and you think about this in advance. I'm going to go down in this stitch and up in this stitch. Basically, I'm duplicate stitching over this strand that's going right here. Then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go under both legs of the very first stitch, which is actually was the cast on stitch. So when you're casting on, this is when you're using long tail cast on, this swooping yarn that goes across the bottom is the thumb yarn. And what looks like the first row of knitting is what goes over your finger when you're doing the long tail cast on. So I'm actually going, it looks like the first row of knitting, but it's really the cast on. I'm going under the cast on stitches. And then I'm going to come down here and go under these 2 stitches. And I've got my yellow marking thread here, so it's easy to remember where I'm going. I'm going to go up here under the next cast on stitch. And you want to be careful to not seam through your seaming thread, because then it won't pull up when we go to pull this tight. So you can see that it looks like big stitches. And after you do a few, then you can pull it up tight. I just hold this end here. I'm going to pull those up tight. And now our edge is seamed down and we cannot see the cast on thumb thread. It's hidden underneath. Here it is right here. You can see that it could be very easy to get disoriented on where you're picking up stitches down here if you did not have that yellow marking thread. Go through the last one. And I'm going to pull it tight. So there's the bottom. Now we're going to seam up the side. In this case, we're going to use the strand. Let me get a pointer. We have our stitches coming across. And here is the edge stitch, the selvage stitch, the slipped stitch edging. We're going to be using the bar that's between the selvage stitch and the next stitch in for seaming. So there's going to be 1 bar for every 2 rows because we slipped that edge. Here's a bar here. That's what I'm going to be using for seaming. And I'm going to be using this line. This would represent the selvage stitch. I'm going to be using these bars right here. And I'm going to use every other bar because we're using the slip stitch. Each slip stitch represents 2 rows. So we're going to use 1 bar every 2 rows to match up on the back. So we're going to start by going under the first bar here. And then we're going to come up between the first stitch. So we're coming up here. See, there's our selvage stitch, the first stitch in, and we're going to go over this bar right here. Right there, can you see? This bar right here. Going over that. We're going to pick up this bar here. Then we're going to come up in the next one. Next bar up. And now we're going to skip 2 rows. So we're going to skip a bar and go under this bar. And I'm going to turn it sideways because it's just easier to do it this way. So our last one was here. This is the next one. And then we'll come up over the last one right here. And now we've sewn that side of the pocket down. It is now attached. Then we're going to come back and do this side. We've got the tail here. So we're going to go under the first bar here. We're going under one bar here because the very bottom, you can't slip the first row because that's your cast on. So they're right next to each other. And under the last one. So there we have our little patch pocket. Now this one would be the same way, only you would start across the bottom, go up here, and then go across the top instead of this way. So now let's see how to do it where you're going to knit it on. We're going to knit it on down here. So we've got our working yarn. And what I do, this is a really cool trick. We want, we're going to pick up stitches right across this row right here. And then we're going to work up, attaching each side as we go. So we want to be able to pick up stitches. If I have my yarn on the front, I can't pick up stitches, can I? In order to pick up stitches, I have to have this yarn behind and pick up stitches through these. But then my working yarn would be to the back. So there's a little trick you do. You thread it onto your tapestry needle. And we're going to be picking up stitches in this row right here. I'm going to take my yarn down to the back in the row above, in the last stitch, with the row above where I'm going to be picking up, and you'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to go above, and I just bring enough yarn through quite a bit. You can bring a long tail through to the wrong side. Give yourself plenty of tail because any excess will be pulled up. And I start picking up stitches. I'm going to pick up right here in my first stitch. So I'm just holding my yarn to the back and I'm going to pick up stitches. And you can use a crochet hook to do this if you want. And I'm going to pick up, and I need enough tail to weave in. Okay, I'm going to pick up one stitch in each of these stitches. And you can use a crochet hook if you want. Let me move up here. If I start going off the screen, tell me, because I'm actually looking at my knitting. This is the coolest trick. I love this.
So Suzanne, you're going in the center of each of the knits.
Yes, I'm going down in the center of each knit stitch and picking up a new stitch from behind. I use this a lot in making pockets. So you're just creating a new fabric on top of another fabric.
Suzanne,
Is this similar? I know you've done the wallaby before. Is this similar to the technique that she uses to pick up the
Yes,
pouch?
yep, yep. I don't know if she says to come up in the row above though. So now, always before, and I think the wallaby is this way, she has you start one stitch over here. So you would take your tapestry needle down here and go across. So that when you end up, your working yarn is actually, and I'm pulling the excess through now. She has you, the working yarn ends up being right here. And so when you go to make your first stitch, that yarn strands across here. I put it up here because then when we turn to work, it's in the perfect spot to make your first stitch. See that? It's not interfering with these side stitches over here. So then you're just going to purl back the wrong side.
Suzanne, when you pulled it through, is it cut? Is that what you?
I didn't do anything. It's that I just pulled the tail through. This is being recorded so you can watch it again because I'm not going to take it out and redo that. And
No.
Judy's doing timestamps. So here's the tail right here.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the working yarn. It's all one piece. So now you've worked across one wrong side row. So now we're ready to start connecting on this side and this side. And we're going to be connecting this column of stitches and this column of stitches. On this column, we're going to be using the right leg of the stitch to connect. On this column, we're going to be using the left leg of the stitch to connect. Okay? And we're going to be working a slip stitch salvage. We're going to work all the knit rows. The slipped stitch salvage will be on the wrong side rows. So now we have our picked up row, right? That's going to be row 1. It'll look like row 1 here. Let me get this one out. We now have our picked up row and the first purl row. So we actually have 2 rows now. So when we decide on where we're going to be picking up the edge stitches, we want to correspond exactly. So it won't be, this is the first row where we picked up stitches in that row. This corresponds to the purl row. This corresponds to the upcoming knit row. So we're going to pick this up and put it on our knitting needle, the right leg. Because we don't want it puckered at the edge. We want it to match perfectly. We're going to knit those 2 together. Then we're going to knit until 1 stitch remains. One stitch remains. We're going to slip as if to knit. We're going to look down here again. We have, this is our pickup row right here. We can see we picked up the stitch here in that row. This corresponds to the purl row. This stitch right here corresponds to the current knit row. We're going to work this together as an SSK. Now we've got 3 rows. We're going to turn our work. We're going to slip the first and last stitch point to point. Slip that, purl until 1 stitch remains. And slip this. The first and last stitch are slipped. Turn the work. Now we can see the previous stitch that we used on the edge was right here. Can you see it? And that corresponds. It's right here. So this is our purl row that we just worked just now. This is going to be the next stitch right here that we're going to attach. And we're going to knit these 2 stitches together. And work until 1 stitch remains. And slip it as if to knit. We can look over here, the same thing. We can see where our previous stitch was used right there. We can see the leg of it. This is the purl row. This is the next knit row. So you have to be able to read your knitting. That helps a lot. Being able to see stitches. You see how it's looking?
Mhm.
Then we're going to the reverse. We're going to slip the first stitch. Purl across until 1 stitch remains. And slip the last stitch. Turn the work. And carefully look over here. We can see this is where we picked, we can see the side of that stitch right there, that white stitch. Now, if these were both the same color, this would be hard to see. So practicing it on a swatch is a good idea. This is the purl row. This is the knit row. Slip. Got to pick this one up. Looking good. Look at that.
Mhm.
Isn't that nice? We're going to do one more and then we'll do the ribbing. Actually, whoops, I purled that first stitch. You got to slip it.
So Suzanne, when you're doing the ribbing, you're going to be doing the top part of the pocket, is that right?
Yeah.
Now, when you're doing that, can you speak to how to avoid the top of the pocket looking sloppy, like it wants to fold forward?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to start the ribbing. Actually, we have enough of, we can see it pretty much matches this. So we're going to start the ribbing this row. Now, some interesting things. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We have a good number for ribbing because if we want the first and last stitch to be a knit stitch, so it looks nice in between. If we had 8 stitches, what would you do? What could you do to make it an odd number? You could either add 1 or decrease 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I would do if for a pocket, I would probably decrease 1 because as Amy said, you don't want the top of it being sloppy. Or you could add 1. But we already have an odd number, it's perfect. So we can do knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. It's centered, it's balanced. I like that. I don't like knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. That would not look good. Okay, so we're going to start our ribbing now, and we're going to continue connecting at the edges. So we're going to connect this one right here. And we're working a knit stitch. And then purl. Until 1 stitch remains. And slip as if to knit. connect at the side. And we're going to slip the first and last stitch. And then work in our ribbing pattern. So it'll be knit one, purl one until one stitch remains. And we're going to slip the last stitch. We're going to combine the next stitch. In pattern. Slip as if to knit. Combine our stitch. Slip the first and last stitch and work in ribbing in between. For those of you taking my boot camp classes, this is the people that are in boot camp 4, this is the beginning of boot camp 4 for the pockets. Be the first lesson. This is the last row. I'm up at the top. Now I'm going to bind off. So I knit these together because I still need to connect the edge. And then I'm going to bind off in pattern firmly. So I purl over the purls, knit over the knits. Not super tight, but firm. Because you don't want the top of the pocket to be stretchy. A little itty bitty swatch like this, it's not going to stretch anyway, but I'll show you the other one, the bigger one. And you do this until one stitch remains, just as we've been doing. We're going to slip this as if to knit. We're going to connect it to the top stitch. Work it as an SSK. Bind off. We're going to pull this through. And it would be, the end would be woven in inside. If you bind off in pattern, so isn't that cute? Very nice. It does not, and neither one of these really affects the fabric. And of course I would steam this or block it and then it will lay perfectly flat, as does this. See how the wrong side of this, it doesn't distort the fabric. This is the knitted on one, where I picked up the stitches and then knitted on. So by binding off in pattern and firmly, this is, it doesn't have much stretch. Do you see that? So it's not going to stretch out of shape. You don't want your pocket to stretch out of shape, the top of it. Same thing for this one here. This one's also knitted on, but by doing the garter edge, makes it very nice. So now some questions come up. Let's say, you know, if you did this in the same color as the background stitch, it would blend in quite well. It would look like it was intended to be there, not an afterthought pocket. But let's say that you have a fabric where you have cables, or you have stranded knitting, or some other design in the background fabric, not in the pocket itself, but in the background fabric. The main fabric has some design on it that you don't want to put a pocket over, right? Mm-hmm. In that case, and I'm not going to demonstrate it today, but it's going to be in the next article after this first article. I would put a needle through a row of stitches and the row below and cut the yarn and take out one row so that you have an opening here and then you have two tails, one on either side. I would use the same method we used here, only if you pick up the purl bumps, and I would knit up connecting on the wrong side. And when I got to the top, I would Kitchener the main fabric with the pocket lining. Then the only stitches remaining alive will be the front of the fabric at the top. I would put those on my needle and do some small edging on it, like maybe an I-cord bind off, something very, very small, not very disruptive. And then your pocket would be invisible, except for this edge right here. It wouldn't interrupt with the cable pattern or the stranded knitting or whatever stitch design is underneath. And that will be in the next article, which will be in the spring cast on next year. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
So
Can
that's
you tell everybody how to get the Cast On magazine?
Cast On magazine is the digital magazine that is put out by the Knitting Guild Association, TKGA.org. The Knitting Guild Association is an international knitting guild. And it's a nonprofit organization. The annual dues are $25. And that $25 gives you, let me go to their website, I'll share it. It's amazing what you get for $25. Whoops, let's see. TKGA.org. Okay, here's the main website. Let me share this. And I'll give you a little history about it. Okay, so membership is $25. You can go right up here to membership, and I think that you can join. Click here. Oh, $25 new designer. They're all $25. They just have these different categories. And our guild is a member. Our guild we have a guild registration that registers the guild. It does not register the members in the guild. You all have to register yourself if you want to be a member. But you have up here, what you have access to is the knitting courses that they teach, hand knitting correspondence courses, learn to knit, basics, taming tension, understanding gauge, professional finishing techniques, and Shetland lace workshop. Then you have certification courses, and the certification courses are the Master Hand Knitting course, the Professional Knitter certification, certification for technical editors, certification for knitting judges, which I did that course. I taught that for a long time, and certification for knitting instructors. But you also have access to the Cast On magazine over here, member resources, Cast On magazine. And what is cool in Cast On magazine is once you're a member for $25, I have to log in. You have access to every Cast On magazine that's ever been written. This is the one for fall 2021. And Cast On magazine, so for $25, you get 4 of these a year. They're digital only. And here's the table of contents. So each magazine has skill building. This month, it's Reverse Stockinette by Binka Schwan. It has Confident Beginner courses. Those are taught by Renda Holiday. They have a Stitch Anatomy course. Every month, it's different stitch anatomy. This one is Working Into Rows Below by Mary Forte. And then there's always 2 projects to practice the new stitch anatomy. And this one is waves and white sands, and there'll be another one. Excuse me. And then there's fashion framework, which is going to talk about different constructions of things. This month it's Norwegian mittens by Mary Jacobs. And then there's some Norwegian mitten samples to work on. Then learn something new, attached edgings by Leslie Gonzalez. And then there's the attached edging. And then there's going to be designer submissions, and these are usually submitted by previous master hand knitters. There are no advertisements. It's all pure education. And so let's say you want to find something. Let's go Cast On Magazine. Let's find anything written by Suzanne Bryan. Search. Okay, these are the search results. These are all the articles that I've written in the past for Cast On Magazine. There's a bunch of them. I haven't written any for a few years, so I'm going to write some more.
Suzanne, you can also search by topic. Like, let's say you wanted to know about short rows or something.
Stranded knitting. All those things right there.
And isn't there a way to contact Arinda if you can't access something because she hasn't uploaded it? And then she
Yes,
just
so
uploads it for you.
If we go to frequently asked questions, there's a contact, contact us right here. If you do just send it info@tkga.org, it goes to Arinda.
I requested a pattern one time and she responded like the same day.
Yes. So let me tell you a little bit of history about TKGA. It started in 1985, and it may have started before that. The Master Hand Knitting Program started in 1985, and it was managed by a group called Offinger Management. And Offinger Management also managed TNNA, which is the National Needle Arts Association. They also managed the Crochet Guild of America and other businesses that were needle arts associated. And they felt that TKGA didn't deserve much of their time. And about 2016, 2017, the Master Hand Knitting Guild, the Master Hand Knitting Group, which I was of the co-chairs and people on the committee, started talking about taking it away from Offingers and taking it, starting their own thing, just bringing it away from Offingers. So they did that, and they started a nonprofit organization. None of the members are paid. No one is paid. The board of the directors are not paid. All the money from your $25 guild dues goes into producing the magazine. And Arinda is the CEO of TKGA now, and also the editor of Cast On Magazine. And then all of those articles that you saw that I showed you, those are written by committee members. They're written by the Master Hand Knitting members or previous Master Hand Knitters like myself. I'm not a previous Master Hand Knitter, I'm a previous committee member. I'm still a Master Hand Knitter. And so it's kind of a curated thing just specifically for the Master Hand, by Master Hand Knitters for Master Knitters. It's totally just educational. There's no advertisement. There's no outside money that comes into it. And it's actually really a cool magazine. It's like Interweave Knits is really cool, but 3/4 of the magazine is advertisements, which is really cool if you like looking at advertisements. But if you're trying to learn something, the articles in Cast On Magazine are specifically geared towards teaching. Any questions?
Suzanne, hasn't TKGA also provided a new program whereby you're not really going for the master hand knitter, but
It's
it's
called the
something-
professional knitting course. So like, let's say you want to be a test knitter. It's for those type of people. It teaches you the importance of gauge and knitting to specifications. And you also have to show proficiency in, knitting techniques. It's not as arduous as the Master Hand Knitting program. There's no research involved.
Yeah.
They give you all the information. You just have to show proficiency in the skills. Whereas the Master Hand Knitting program, there's a ton of research. It's like 25% research, 25% knitting, 25% pattern writing, 25% answering questions and stuff like that. It's a full rounded education of knitting. And there's going to be a new course coming up by Donna Eston for designing. And she's going to be a guest of mine. Let me see what date on my Suzanne live stream thing. Let me see the date. She's going to introduce her course. That's going to be on the 28th of August, not next weekend, but the weekend after. So if you're interested in that, you can watch it. She's going to talk all about her course and answer questions. And she's awesome. I just love her.
Is there a pre-requirement to be a master hand knitter to do that?
Nope.
Cool.
These are all of the courses are individual. You don't have to do one before the other. You can choose, pick and choose which one you want to do. But they're all worth their weight in gold. Okay, Judi, are you ready for the drawing?
Has everybody entered that wants to enter? You can just tell me your name if you haven't put your name in the chat yet.
Yeah, I didn't put my name in.
Okay.
Well, let me put the link for signing up the magazine. It's tkga.org.
Okay, it's for $30 at Panera's.
Oh, Teresa says that would be a fun drawing prize at the end of the year for the TKGA.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a good idea. I can even put that as an attendance drawing too.
Right.
That's within my attendance drawing budget. So that's good to remember. Okay, thank you, Teresa, for that idea. Okay. So I need somebody to pick a number from 1 to 19. Who would like to do that?
Francoise, you pick the number.
12.
12. Okay, let me see. Number 12, Jovina.
Wow, cool. Thank you.
Okay, I will get that to you by email.
When I taught the same class that I taught today. I taught to the Vancouver Knitting Guild this past Wednesday night. And they do a drawing prize too. And they found this thing. In fact, I need to get the link from them. It's like a spinning wheel, like a Russian, what is it? That game you play in Las Vegas where it spin around?
Roulette.
And she puts everybody's name on it while they're doing the teaching thing. She puts it, and then it spins it and picks the person. It's very cool. It's a random.
I want that. You have to find that for me, Suzanne. I want that.
It's
I
really
have
fun to watch it. I'll find it. So we are now, does anybody need a bathroom break?
No, but well, do you want me to show off a couple of our books?
Yes, let's put Claire up. So she's going to talk about what's in our library that's related to today's topic.
Yes, I put in the chats the books Knitting Without Tears and Knitting for Anarchists, and then that's followed. Bruce, can you get that door? I'm waiting for my SIM cards on my new phone. So it's like, that's an important thing. So the rest of the titles are page numbers of just a few of the resources in our library that specifically talk about pockets. And there are some more, but they're either too brief. One of them is this one, Knitter's Book of Knowledge by Debbie Bliss. And just to give you an idea, especially if you're more visual oriented and not reading words. So it talks about the sewn-on patch pocket, duplicate stitched patch pocket. And what I like about these is they will place the needles with contrasting yarn right where you need to see that particular step. So again, these are just in addition to videos that you might see. Horizontal inset pocket, which isn't seen from the outside, and then doing the vertical inset pocket. So that's just in this one. And then this blew my mind. I didn't even know this was possible. This is The Principles of Knitting by June Hemmons Hyatt. This is the older edition of the book. But the bonus is if you come and visit the library, I have the more current edition. You could compare it. This has a whole section on making pockets in double knitting. So this one is more, you know, the words. And I don't, anyway, I can't show it very well, but I like to have both. I like to have something visual, and then I like to have something step by step, just in case I'm missing something. So as you might guess, the whole purpose of showing off our books today is we want you to come and use them. They don't get used very much. You are welcome to come to my house. It's pretty much always open. You can come and sit. I will leave you alone. I'll make you a cup of tea, and you can sit and spread everything out over this desk and browse to your heart's content. Or if you want to pick a specific title from looking at the shared file on Google, I can bring it to my office, which is probably closer to everybody, or I will hand deliver it in some cases. This is all for Bakersfield people. And I think that is it. Tell me if you have any concerns about the library or questions about it, please contact me. I'd like to know if there's anything I can do to get our library circulating, because a library that's just a dead library is not good for anybody. You want it circulating. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything anybody else wants to discuss before we start sharing our knitting? Okay, I'm going to just pick you. Claire, do you have anything you'd like to share?
I can show you my basted in zipper on my Aran sweater, but pick somebody else. I'll go run get it.
Okay, Maria.
I'm currently working on
oh, that's so pretty.
Dress for my cousin's baby, just turned a year old, and she was doing a routine. So right now I've picked up sleeves while we were in class or in meeting today, and that's what I'm doing.
That is adorable. What's the pattern?
It is Petite Knits Anchors Dress. I've done a couple of the adults Anchors summer top, and I love it. And it's just easy because it's just knit and purl with a little bit of increases. And so the yarn is Long Dog yarn. I just love her colorways. She's an indie dyer, and she just has some really cute stuff. So I love using her yarn.
That's gorgeous.
On your summer tops, did you also use the multicolored yoke? That's pretty.
No, I didn't. They were for, I did one for my daughter and one for my daughter-in-law. And no, they were just solid.
That's very
So
pretty.
the adults were in DK, but the child's dress is fingering. So I was trying to bang it out in about 2 weeks time because I thought, oh, I can do this. But going down needle sizes and the fingering, it's taking me a little longer. Plus I have sock class that I'm trying to keep up. So it depends on what's going on. Like, what can I do? Like, am I just knitting in the round? It's just knits, or do I have to pay attention? And I've been holding off on picking up my sleeves. So there you go. I finally got it.
Judi, do you have anything you'd like to share?
No. Oh, hang on.
No?
No.
Okay. Francoise, do you have anything you'd like to share? Unmute yourself.
I'm still doing my my swatch for my Fair knitting.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
So beautiful.
Beautiful.
I arrive at the end of the choice of my colors, so it will be begin soon. I will begin soon.
You know, I find that swatching like that is so addicting, and you keep thinking, oh, I'm just going to change this, and oh, I'm just going to change that. And at some point you have to, okay, it looks good. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Beautiful colors.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Claire, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, so beautiful.
Claire,
Wow.
this is my Erin, my 3-year Erin sweater. I don't know, when did we do the class again? But it's
Beautiful.
So I did it with a button band and buttons and a collar, and I showed it off at the stitches. It's kind of wrinkled and dirty right now. It has pills all over it. It's a mess, but and then I decided I didn't like the collar, and then I didn't like the button band after all. The button band looked fine, but the collar looked a little wonky. So, and then I lost weight, and so now I had just a huge sweater. So I decided this really lent itself to having a zipper. So I put in a zipper. I had to cut it off. This is just basted in right now.
It's beautiful.
I think I got a pretty good do on it.
Let's see the back, model the
Turn
back.
around.
Wow.
Oh,
Gorgeous.
And
Beautiful.
she designed that whole thing.
Yeah, I call it live stream.
That's gorgeous. Where'd you find that beautiful zipper?
The zipper I ordered from the zipper lady. I'm sorry, it's just too hot to keep this on for more than a minute. I bought it from the zipper lady online because I couldn't find a zipper that was the right size. So you just have to get one where it has a specific bottom, and then you have to be able to yank off the little pins of the zipper and then reapply the ending things. And that was a little nerve-wracking. But again, I thought, what's the worst thing that could happen? I have to order another zipper from her. You know,
Right.
it's not the end of the world.
Exactly.
And then I'm going to add on the back side to neaten things up. I have this, what do they call this? Like basting stitches or?
Yeah, very pretty.
Anyway, I'm going to cover up the zipper on the inside with this.
Yeah.
And so it kind of has sort of a similar motif of the knit.
And have you ever thought of adding afterthought pockets?
Not to this sweater. I'm not interested. But I think I definitely want to put pockets on a future sweater. But yeah, I'm not.
You're done with it?
No, I just think it looks neater. You know, there's so much going on. Why would I want to add?
Make invisible pockets. Let me show you Jacki's. Hold on.
So once I get the zipper done, then I'm going to block it one last time and then sit down and watch a bunch of long movies while I pick off all of the pills.
I know, mine.
Then
peeled
I'll put it in the
also.
fair.
Yeah.
What was that?
Mine peeled also. A
Yeah, I
lot.
mean, that's the nature of wool. It's gonna do that. And
I found the Gleaner. Have you seen that to shave it? It has like three different it's not like a shaver like an electric one. I'll go grab it. I'll grab it. So I'm terrible at explaining.
I've used different things on my knitting, pumice stones and it's all fine, but it's sort of therapeutic and makes you feel like you're keeping busy if you just do it by hand while you're doing something else.
This is Jacki's Afterthought pocket. So this one, it's her same sweater that you did. So here's the front of the sweater here, her button band. So we just took out the seam right here and then knitted on the lining.
Oh, I see.
It's just got to be attached here. And so it's totally invisible. This is what I was talking about, doing a pocket that doesn't interrupt the front of the fabric.
Oh, I
and
see.
it's attached here. It's attached here, right along here, but it's totally invisible. And then we're just going to do, I think I'm going to do like a crab stitch, a crocheted crab stitch right here, just to reinforce this edge. So it's totally invisible.
That is cool.
Doesn't affect the sweater. Isn't that cool? Okay, so let's see who's next. Amy, do you have anything you'd like to share?
No, just a lot of UFOs. Plus, I'm starting a mystery knit along shawl today. So.
Okay.
Oh.
How about Sabrina?
I have several things real quick. I don't have to think about it doing mockers. I've been working on that all here. I wanted to try out the knit again because it looks so pretty and tiny.
Let's see.
It's very splitty.
Oh, uh-huh. So it's lyocell, uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'm doing that. I'm in the sock boot camp. And
cute.
So this is a vanilla sock, but I'm trying out different things on it. All I have is the edge to finish. I haven't decided how I'm going to bind it off yet. But I tried
cool.
skill, which I don't remember the name of. It's sock number 1, I think.
Uh-huh.
So, and then I'm making a poncho, which ended up, because it's so many stitches, they were all bunched up on the needle and I couldn't try it on really. And I thought it was long enough, but when I finished it, but it's not. So I have to take out all the trim and add some more length to it. So that's not finished yet, but when it is, I'll show it.
Okay.
And then here's my sock number 3 from boot camp.
Oh, cute.
I was experimenting with how to do the toe and color. And then there's the picot edge, which I have to fasten down now. So
yep. Very cute. Adorable.
I've been working on.
You know, those picot edges would be cute with putting a bead on.
It would be, yeah.
Right at the turning. Yeah, that'd be very cute. Okay. Jacki, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Me?
Yes.
Yes. My daughter asked me to, if I would knit some socks for a friend's baby or sister's baby. So I knitted these little moccasins.
So cute.
Oh,
and I have to tell you, it took more time than a regular sock. But yeah. And this is attached actually. So
That's
it was fun. It was fun. And what's interesting is I have had this pattern forever and I never made it because I really didn't know, some of the instructions. And this time when I did it, I knew. It was amazing.
Very cool.
That's my little
Those are
sock.
adorable. Julie, do you have anything you'd like to share? Whoops, unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. So we've been traveling in our little mini Winnie. We've done about 3,500 miles. And I've been working on this Daybreak by Stephen B. And he did it in a black and gray, and mine is a red and gray. It's still on the needle, so it hasn't been, it's all bunched up, but it's got the slip stitches and the rows, and it'll eventually be a giant half moon thing that's taken me 3,500 miles to knit, because sometimes I have to stop and boss my husband around a little bit, like turn off your blinkers, stay in your lane, that kind of thing. So yeah, when you're trying to navigate and knit, you can't go as fast.
So instead of, when people ask you how long did that take you to make, you can say about
The miles.
4,500 miles.
Exactly. It's on sock yarn on a tiny little needle, so it does take a while.
I love stuff like that though, because every time you look at it or wear it, you'll remember that trip.
Exactly.
Yes. Libby, do you have anything you'd like to share?
No.
Carolyn.
Hi. Well, I'm taking Suzanne's sock class, the boot camp. So I've got my little.
Oh,
cute.
I've got my other, I'm behind. So there's my toe up.
Oh, am I?
And then I found the socks that you showed. I've got the magazine.
Oh,
The
cool.
magazine. So the question I have is, if you hear gardeners, my gardeners are here. What sock yarn did you use? Did you use a cotton, or can you use?
You can use anything, but I did use the cotton that was recommended for the pattern. And so you have to buy all those little balls of yarn. There's like a million of them. But you could use your own colors. You don't have to use the colors. And if you go on Ravelry and look and see what other people have done, with them, you could even just use 2 colors throughout.
Okay.
They're really fun. And I actually switched the charts around to a different order after the first pair.
Okay. Now, is it better to use cotton, or is it better to use wool?
No,
or?
it's just that she did them in cotton.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll work just fine in wool. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Pam, do you have anything you'd like to share? She's away. Fatima, how about you? Let's see what you've got going on.
Hello. Okay. Yep. Okay. I'm starting with the new Frank sweater. And always
let's see what you did.
Always I change, of course, the pattern itself. And I'm making this. This is not a saddle. This is a crew neck. But decided I thought that I could finish with 3 needles bind off at the end, but after to discuss with Suzanne a few days ago, she suggests, and I really appreciate very much, to start exactly with the I cord, and this is what I did. So I made the I cord, and I pick up on the I cord on the back the stitches according the orientation of the instructions of Frank sweater. So I am exactly now creating the shoulder in the inclination in both sides. So my idea is today to join the 2 parts together, and this will be a crew neck but open on the side, and I will go back and forth. So I started to knit in a round. This will be the way to practice for my taming tension in order to to knit and purl. And and the edge here will be an I-cord in this color.
Oh, nice.
And also on the sleeves, and because the yarn I have not enough of this at the moment. I already order, is the same color but it's a different lot, and I will make in a waist, on the waist point, maybe a kind of 2 or 3 rows in order to divide the color itself. Also brings a nice, not completely one color at the end, I think. And I'm planning to, because otherwise it's maybe too boring to be all the time the same all the way. Is something that I'm planning to do. I don't know if I can, just to add this flower. Of course, needs to be knitted upside down in order to make here on the side like a brush or something like that. Maybe in the same color or in the different color. Yeah, we'll go as I go, and maybe I change everything as soon I go down after a few rows. But
I have to tell you a really funny story about dividing the dye lots. I was at a conference one time. My friend Leslie and I were at a conference, and we were doing this social thing in the evening, and we were sitting at a table in a round table with 8 other people. And there was a lady across from us who was knitting this beautiful kind of a rusty gold color in plain stockinette, this sweater. And she had a large portion of it down. It was just gorgeous. And then all of a sudden she brought out this like gold fun fur. And she was knitting fun fur onto her sweater that was just plain stockinette. And Leslie says, "Oh, that's interesting." And she goes, "Yes, I have another skeins, a different dye lot, so I thought I would divide them with the fun fur." So then every time I think of different dye lots, I think of fun fur.
Okay. Yeah, I use a lot because I know sometimes I dye myself, and when I need more and I go to dye more and it's not the same. So I'm exactly with, I can show you. Oh, just a moment. Something at the moment, because I'm also doing the socks, of course, but I continue to go with, this happened exactly with the C's with you, with the Suzanne. This happened exactly that. I did the down part here, the lowest part, because one of the balls is darker than the other. So I cast on, I changed completely the pattern. Only I catch the design that as it was in the picture, and even the number of stitches are different. So I cast on number 8 stitches here, or 9, I think. And then I pick up the stitches here and I went up with the 2 colors exactly, because they are different. Here you don't see so much, but they are. And I went every row I changed. I think I had one ball in one side, the other, and I was crossing all the time. And then when I arrive here, I changed the needles for the lower size, and I made exactly in the dark color. And then I went up only with one color. So you don't see so much here, but in reality here is a little bit lighter than here. And I made the sleeves already, and this is a kind of to the moment. And the sleeves are exactly the same. I knit in the round. Officially, the project says that is knit open, but I knit in the round. And I start also to cast on here, and I pick up the stitches, and I went in the round with the 2 balls of yarn. So more or less keep the same, because also I need to balance, because I had not enough for one. So, and I'm making now the back side. Is in the needle somewhere near the television when I'm sit with my husband. And oh, and here I already made a kind of just to start to knit the edge here that is in very thin needles and in the dark color, and time to time I sew together them and we'll go here until the top.
Very cool.
I don't know when I finish this, but because this is in let's see, I think 3 is 2.5 West. So it takes a long time before, and this is double moss stitch, so it takes a long time to do it.
Just gorgeous.
I will show later. I will show later.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
for this fall.
Kathy, do you have anything you'd like to share?
I do. I'm still working on the gibbous shawl, which is Sylvia Harding. So it's a lot of mosaic. It starts with this really swell half moon pattern, which you really can't quite see, but there are little half moons in all of that. And of course it's Sylvia, so there's, you got to throw a few beads in because it just wouldn't be a Sylvia project if you didn't.
Right.
I'm into the 5th color, which is a pale kind of aqua blue. Then I have one more color and then another section of half moons.
That's beautiful.
I love the colors, so pretty.
Yeah, thank you.
Me too.
They were all things I found in my stash. So
Stash
even better, right?
Yes. Vicki, do you have anything you'd like to share?
I do. I've finished my blue cowl for the Blue Train Book Club, yeah. Well, except for I do have to.
It's the same color as your shirt.
Oh, yeah, it is. And working on the angel cake cowl for the red.
For
this month's book. And I'm working on another baby blanket that I started.
Wow.
Very cool. You're multi-project.
She is.
Yeah.
Poly project.
Yeah.
Charlene, did I already ask you?
No, and I don't know if I've shown this. It was when we had Melanie Berg. I was knitting her avienda.
Wow.
And I
Pretty.
just had a catastrophe. The cat jumped on my lap.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it goes back pretty far on either side. So this afternoon, I will get to try to pick that back and get it back in. But anyway, that was my, the black kind of ran and changed the color of the pink, but it's okay. So
it's gorgeous.
Very
nice.
So that's was all done until the cat jumped on my lap. So
darn cats.
I know. Now one's in my chair because I got up. Come on. Get down. Get down. I actually have 5 cats.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see. Let me see who's next. Cindy, do you have something you'd like to share?
Not this month, hopefully next month.
Okay. Barbara.
Well, I shared my new project that I started earlier today, and I had to rip it out because it was twisted. So now I have to start it over again, but that's okay. I often have to start projects over again.
Yes, that's part
But
of
this
knitting.
is, yeah, this is my sister's cat. You know, I'm at her house in Phoenix, and her name is Cowboy. So Cowboy is a girl, and she's missing her mommy and daddy, and has followed me around everywhere I go now in the house. You see she's sitting on my foot right now.
Yeah.
It's a warm pillow.
Companion. Teresa, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Oh, not this time. Thank you.
How about Christy?
You can't really see it. My lighting sucks, but I'm still working on my, yeah, I give up with lighting. My shift shawl.
It's the lighting's bad. Oh yeah, I see it.
Really bad. But I've decided after this that I will probably never do slip stitches in the next 10 years because I'm so over slip stitches.
It's not your cup of tea.
Just there's too many. There's way too many. That's why I like hats.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I got a pass on every other stitch. I didn't have to knit it. Just flip it over there.
Yeah, it would be fine if my pass ended like here instead it keeps going and going.
Yeah.
Going. And
Yeah, I
still-
made the cowl. It was a challenge.
I still have 2 more sections to go.
Yeah, good. Your hair is really cute today.
Oh, thank you. It's
Luann, do you have anything you'd like to share? Not today.
Not today.
How about Jacqui Engstrand?
There we go. I lost my Zoom for a minute then. No, I've kind of I've lost my knitting mojo. I've got to get my mojo back.
I understand that.
We need to be, it'd be nice if we could get together. That would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, certainly would, yeah.
Yes. Jovina, how about you?
I showed earlier. It's the shawl that I started. It's called Raina. Debbie Newlen had recommended that I start it because I was telling her that I was so inspired from Melanie Berg to start a shawl, and so she told me to do the Raina. She said it was pretty easy. Oh, for me it wasn't easy, but I'm enjoying it. So
That's gorgeous. That's not easy. That's gorgeous.
I know. It's not easy at all.
Beautiful. I love changing textures like that. It makes it so much more interesting to knit.
Yeah, I like that. I guess I'm still so new with knitting, but is this called lacy every time there's a hole or somewhat?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the term?
It's lace,
Lacy
yeah.
because it's got that hole, the hole.
Yeah, it's got eyelets. Those holes are called eyelets.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got eyelets. Amanda, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Well, I kind of showed what I was doing earlier, but I've been picking up stitches and I started doing stripes. So I'm making the Japan sleeve sweater by Hoey Locatelli.
Oh, right, right.
But it's short row stripes. This is going to be the shoulder.
That is going to be so beautiful. I can't wait to see it.
I'm excited about my yarn. So
Yeah.
I like yellow in here. Yellow in the center, and it comes out to pink.
Right.
And what's your darker color?
Yeah, it's going with a navy blue.
It's a navy, pretty.
What's the name of the pattern?
It's called Japan sleeves.
Okay, cool.
I don't have a lot of bandwidth for complicated patterns right now. It's a little busy at work and school starts again in another week and a half. So this is just stripes, but the color makes it fun.
Okay, does anybody else have anything that would like to share? I think I asked everybody.
Yes, Jacqui.
Jacqui?
Jacqui Engstrand.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I didn't have anything.
Ah, okay.
I need to hang out with you, Jack, so I can get my knitting mojo back.
Exactly, exactly. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
Susanna was talking about the gleaner to Claire. And I ran to grab it and I just wanted to show this is what it's called, the gleaner. And it's got this fuzzy head on it. And then on the other side, it has shavers. And you can change the shaver depending on the item that you're trying to shave pills off of, depending on if it's really fine or if it's really thick. Like I've used this already on my couch, on a couple of t-shirts, and then of course my knitting like socks that filled up. I love this stupid little thing. So Claire, I'm telling you, rather than picking them off one by one. Try this if you can. You're more than welcome to borrow it if you want to try
Yeah,
it.
I have seen that. Yeah, what?
It's really, really nice. I
Cool.
love it.
Where'd you get it? I agree with you. I agree with you, Marie. It's great.
Yeah, and it has this little brush side. So like right now I'm dog sitting my daughter's corgis that shed like a son of a gun, and it brushes the hair off like it's a neat thing. I ended up getting it off of Amazon, but you can go to their website because I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it or not, but I ended up getting one even for my mom for just her regular clothes. I've used it on t-shirts that I love but look terrible and I'm ready to get rid of, but it'll just shave them right off. It's so nice.
I want to get one of those.
Yes. And they come in colors. They have little different colored handles so you can pick and choose, you know, orange, green, blue, pink, whatever.
Very cool.
But I highly recommend.
Okay, so I think we've covered everybody. Does anybody else have anything they want to add or discuss or talk about or anything we forgot? We'll keep you up to date on, I want to share my sweater.
Oh, yeah, stand up.
I forgot. I wore it so I could share it. It's not finished. I need to finish the neck. In fact, I'm going to finish the neck right now, right between now and when I do my live stream. But it's got the base at the bottom.
Oh, pretty.
And then down the arm.
Beautiful.
This is a Franco.com sweater. I love it. Look how it fits. Isn't that awesome? I chose the one. This is with 2 inches of ease. This is Woolme's lace garn, and I used a US 4 needle for it. And the drape of the fabric is it's awesome. I love it. Very, very happy with it.
Suzanne, so did you design your lace work then, since it's a Franco?
I just chose this out. See, it's just diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
I chose it out of Barbara Walker. I just looked through. I wanted something because I knew the yarn was so dark. I needed an eyelet pattern to show the design. That if I chose a lace pattern, you wouldn't be able to see the lace because the yarn's so dark. So see the diamonds?
It's very pretty.
Isn't that cool?
What are you doing for the collar?
Around the collar, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna pick up stitches all the way around. I'm gonna purl one round, and then I'm gonna do a knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together all the way around, and then purl around, then wind off. So it'll be eyelets all the way around.
And you're doing all that before your live stream, right?
I'm gonna do that right now.
That would be impossible for me.
It is super comfortable. And for Bakersfield, this is just, it's really nice even today. I mean, of course, I'm not outside, I'm in my house, but I feel perfectly comfortable in it.
What's the difference between eyelets and lace? Because you said lace, the
You don't
holes in
have
lace
to
are
have-
called eyelets.
Right, but the eyelets are the holes in the lace, and usually lace has stitches that cross over each other. This is just simply yarn overs and knit 2 togethers or SSKs that make it directional. It's all it is yarn overs, SSKs. It is a lace pattern, but it's an eyelet lace pattern. So the eyelets are what make the design. See, the eyelets make the diamond designs versus the flow of the yarn making the design.
Let's see.
All righty. So we're going to have social knitting here next Saturday, same time, same place. If you're so inclined, at 1 o'clock, I have my live stream on YouTube, and it's going to be with Frank and hopefully Fatima and Francoise will be there, and Ann Ball from I think she's from Turkey. It's going to be there. It's going to be fun. So we'll see you guys next time. Happy knitting.
Okay, thank you,
Bye,
Suzanne.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.